So one of the questions that I get asked the most is, what equipment do I need at home to help my child and support them to build intentional movement? So today I'm giving you my top 5 recommendations for equipment that I use when working with my clients with complex autism. And links to all of this equipment will be in the description below. So let's get into it. Hi, I'm Dr. Dana Johnson. I'm an occupational therapist with a PhD in child mental health and development, and I help parents of complex autistic children understand what's really driving their child's challenges. Now, when working with families, one of the topics that we discuss is the best way to build intentional movement that's easy to do at home, that supports body awareness. Now, many of your kids may struggle with body awareness, so expecting them to do something intentional is going to be really hard when they have absolutely no idea where their body is in space. So adding weight can be one of the ways to help with that. Now, secondly, regulation. When you don't have any awareness of where your body is in space, that's going to add stress and anxiety and then be more dysregulating. So I focus mostly on heavy work, pushing, pulling, pressing, lifting, all functional movements that we do every single day. And we start with more simple movements, and then as your child builds the motor control, we can progress to exercises that are more challenging. Okay, so the first one is the weighted ball. Now, I've talked about this before in another video on exercise, and this one I love because it is so versatile. You can get it in all different weights, so depending on the age of your child, you can choose one that may be heavier or lighter. And I love it because these things, when they drop and they fall, they don't bounce. And so it's great for things like ball slams, where you lift it up from the floor, you push it up, you're getting some great heavy work in there, and then you slam it down on the ground. That's a really great one. The other one is just shoulder press. So bringing the ball up above your head and bringing it back down to your chest, that's another one to really, build the shoulder strength, the core. But this one is really, really versatile. So I use this a lot with many of my clients. Okay, the next one is what you call a Plyo Box. Now, the Plyo Box is also really, really versatile because I use them even just with starting out with new clients. One of the exercises that I work on is what we call a box squat. So essentially, they're sitting on the Plyo Box and they work to bring their body up and then to sit back down. And again, it's just a simple movement, but when you have whole body apraxia, this can be really challenging when you're doing it repeatedly. So this one is one of my basic exercises that I start with, and that's done with the Plyo Box. Now, the other thing that you can do with it is I turn it, and this box is great because you can move it on each different side, and it's a different height. So one of the other things that we do is working on things like step ups. So stepping up and stepping back and stepping up and stepping back. And this just makes it so it's easy, it's solid for, especially if you have older children, this is really solid and stable. And then lastly, I talk in a couple other videos about really getting some good solid pushing just through the shoulders. So with this, we have added just pieces of carpet on the bottom so that it slides easily, especially if you have a hard surface or something that's not carpet. We want this to be able to slide. And so we have it where we'll turn it and we're just working to push this way. So the individual is getting a lot of input through their shoulders and through their whole body, really. But you can add weight to it, you can add a person to sit on it and then to push. And that gives a ton of input and then body awareness through the individual's whole body. Okay, so the next one I have is the weighted bar. And again, very versatile. You can get these in all different weights depending on the age and the strength of your child. But we use this just to help build the intentional movement of that push above your head and then bringing it back down, so like a shoulder press. You can also use it for bicep curl. It gives just a little bit of weight for the individual to have that body awareness in their arms, because it also helps with that control. When you're not feeling where your body is in space and then you just have something light in your hand, it's really hard to judge how quickly the pacing of the movement is. It's difficult to work through the movement. So by adding weight, adds body awareness, and then you automatically have more control. Now, you're still gonna need to help coach and prompt the individual, but you can do a lot with these weighted bars. The other thing that I do, remember the box squat, sometimes I will put this bar behind the individual's head and resting it on their neck and shoulders, and then that has something for them to grip on, because sometimes what happens is that they want to use their arms when they're sitting on the box. They want to use their arms or their hands to push off because they have weak leg strength. So with this, you're able to have something for them to hold on to and then to stand up and to sit down to do the box squat. So these weighted bars are actually really, really handy, and again, super versatile. Okay, the next one is what we call a sand bell. Now, it's kind of a cross between a beanbag and a kettlebell. I guess that's how they got its name. But essentially it is. It's the big beanbag. What I love about this though, and this one, it comes in actual weights. So this one here is 8 pounds. And what I love about it again is that if you just drop it, it doesn't bounce, it doesn't move, it's just solid. So again, using this, and you can, again, it's super versatile. You can use this to help push up. You can use this as one arm going up and down as far as that shoulder press to build that strength, and alternating. I tend not to use dumbbells, because dumbbells actually are harder to control when you're doing both sides. So have a dumbbell in both hands. So I choose the weighted bar, or I will use these sand bells. The other thing that these work great for is just to add weight to the body. So if you're working to slow the body down, just even holding it as we're moving through space is another idea, another way that I use these sand bells. So another option as opposed to a kettlebell, so if you're familiar with kettlebells, these sometimes can be a little bit more complex for those who are just starting out. So I like using these. These also work really great for lat pads if you're needing that weight while we're sitting. So again, something super versatile. Okay, lastly, we have our colored dots, and these things are not exactly adding weight, but they absolutely help as a visual cue. So you can put these on the ground, you can put them on chairs, you can put them anywhere that you need the individual to be able to get their body to. So if I need one of my clients to keep their left foot on the purple and the right foot on the green, these things are really, really, really helpful. So we use these in a variety of ways. And so I wanted to include them because when I get thinking about, well, what's all the equipment, I can list it, but I also have these strategies which are really, really important. So consider, and again, I'm gonna put all these links in the description below so that you have links to all of this so that you can start to implement these things for your child at home. Okay, so a bonus piece of equipment are these. These are called Blaze Pods, and we use them here a lot for our clients. It really works on hand-eye coordination, working to integrate left side, right side of the brain, working on crossing midline. So as a demo, I can show you, but essentially you can put these on any surface, ground, chair, table, and you can work on things like touching left, right, You can do left only. You can tell your client, okay, I want you to use your left hand to touch the red and the right hand to touch the blue. And it's actually challenging enough. So these things, and it will go from easy, simple, and you can make it more challenging as you go. One of the things that I really, really love is the fact that you can take these and put them on a vertical surface. So there's suction cups that you can get as an option, and you can stick them to glass or mirror, and then that way you can practice, if I can get them in, perfect. Then you can practice the same thing similarly with left and right, but it's on a different surface. Okay, not gonna demo those anymore. I have to think and talk at the same time. The best part about this whole thing is that I'm gonna include a discount code in the description for Blaze Pods. Now, just a reminder, I have no affiliation with any of these companies when I give you the links, but there's a $50 discount off of your purchase of Blaze Pods that I'm going to include in the description for you so that if you do choose to get something like this, you can save some money. Okay, so here's something that's really important to know. Do you need to have this equipment? No, you don't. Seriously, you could use a sturdy armless chair, a step that you have, a step stool, or one of those like individual steps in your house. You could use a broomstick. Everyday objects can work just fine. The equipment really isn't the point. The point is the movement itself and the quality of that movement. We're not trying to just get through the exercises and check it off. That's not the goal. The goal is to build the intentional movement where your child feels more in control of their body. We're working on pacing, rhythm, regulation, and we're practicing these movements repeatedly so that over time they can become more automatic, they can feel more in control. And remember, one of the most important things is to motor coach your child. Break the movement down each step. And if you need more information on motor coaching, I did a whole video on how to motor coach, so be sure to check that video out. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me about your experience and strategies that you might have used to build intentional movement with your child. What has worked? What hasn't? What are you struggling with? Be sure to put a comment below because I really try to read them and answer every single one of them. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with another autism parent who might need to hear it. And don't forget, all of the links are going to be included in the description below. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video.